I mean, all of the women, you know, in my background, and we're all basket makers. And all the men, you know, were makers of, you know, regalia, and they were fishermen and hunters, and, you know, and it was just the natural evolution of life, you know, these people were going through, you know, and they were all artists. Whereas now, you know, we tack these names on there. We're artists, and somebody else is this, and somebody, well, I sing, and I dance, you know, I write, you know, but all of these things I thought, well, they came from, you know, all my ancestors, my people. And so it was like, the idea was, I said, through my body flows the blood of singers and dancers, hunters, gatherers, fishermen, basket makers and carvers, those makers of the dance regalia, all believers in the traditional religions and the old ways. I know I am these people, and I have done all of these things before, many, many years ago. And so again, it just refers to my, you know, my makeup. I'm made up of all of these people, so I'm just following along the tradition that was, you know, set for me. What else, you know, would I be doing? You know, and so it was their way of explaining their world, using, you know, those designs and things, and so now I've just sort of taken that same idea and, you know, using our art forms and things, and now using those to explain my world. And I've been influenced by a lot of people, you know, over the years, the styles of work and stuff. And so I like to work within that area of abstraction, but at the same time keeping it very real, you know, so that I can kind of slide in and out of, you know, the realism and stuff that's going on. And right now, it's probably one of the most exciting times, you know, in my career, maybe, so to speak, as an artist, in that it seems like out of all the years that I've been really working at it, which has been, you know, a few now, this time right now is when it seems like it's all coming together, you know, maybe because of, you know, my life seems to be going through that too, you know. I mean, I've reached a time in my life where I'm, you know, that I've taken on a lot of responsibilities, and I'm preparing myself for, you know, to move on to the next plateau or whatever that, you know, however that may be. But the imagery and everything, it's coming directly from what I'm involved with, and that to me is really exciting. That's something that I've always, you know, the artists and people that I know of, their work that excites me the most comes from that the directness of being involved right now with something that's going on in their lives. And it seems like their work then becomes, you know, very forceful and full of spontaneity and those kinds of things. They're not just patterns or just a picture or something, but it's actually saying something, and that's what I've been trying to do. I'm taking the work that was common to our culture, using basket designs and regalia and different kinds of things, and arranging them or painting them somehow so that they've actually taken on my, you know, the essence of my culture. And so it's that's the feeling that I've been trying to get for a long time, and now all of a sudden it's happened, you know, and I'm in a real nice position to be able to try to keep that going, see. And so what I want people to try to understand then is that, yes, there is something happening here, and all it would take is for them to get to know a little bit more about who this person is and what he's doing, so that they can understand it, see. It's nothing that's so abstract that you can't understand things. All you have to do is look at it a little bit, and then listen a little bit, and you'll see, you know, what I'm trying to say. And this fire is well, both of these images, the house and the fire, are kind of new to my work. And it all comes from my past experiences this last summer. Yeah, being around the ceremonies and being a part of them, and actually, being responsible for putting some of them on. It just seemed like it was a natural thing that started to happen. And these fires are maybe just or something that are really special, in that each one gives off a different mood. Each fire, I think, that that we've come into contact with is really different. We have the fire in the dance house, which is only lit during the time of the ceremony. We light it. One of our medicine people lights it, and then it is kept burning throughout the 3-4 day ceremony. And so it was my job this time, my honor, to take care of that fire, in that keep it burning all the time. And so I would be putting the wood on it and keeping it going. And then once the dance is over with, it's allowed to go out, and then it's just left until the following year when we have our next one. And then also there's other fires, like the fires from the sweat house, which again is very sacred. There are fires that are used in the prayer and those kinds of things. There's also the other fires that that we build, like during the war dance. And that war dance fire then is one that's sort of like the dance, in the sense that there's not really a fixed fireplace, although there is a certain spot where we do build it. And in this fire, we stack up a big pile of wood and then burn that, and it sets off almost like a big, we're looking for a lot of light, and so the fire is naturally going to be fairly big and warm, and it just gives off a whole different mood. And the war dance itself is a lot different than the other ceremonies that we have, and there's just a lot of real intense energy of when the people get out and dance, and it's one, the war dance itself is more like in a sense of a making up kind of dance, when when one thing has been done and the two sides get together and there's an arbitration, and then they decide that payment might be made, and then this dance is held. And so again, you go through this kind of mock confrontation, where the dancers might come out and come towards one another, and there's this kind of a mock, again, this mock confrontation. And it signifies, that once this is done, the problems that we were talking about is taken care of, and they're not to be brought up and discussed any longer. That was our way of taking care of a lot of these problems when these things were done. And so there's a lot of different kinds of fires, and this is what I'm trying to maybe to show or to convey, in this series of drawings. One thing that I haven't really mentioned a lot, but that I see a lot in my work, but is the humor. Amongst Indian people, a lot of people say Indian people don't have a sense of humor, but because they have this idea that they're very stoic and all that kind of stuff. But the Indians have a real unique sense of humor, and that's one of the things, again, too, that I'm trying to bring out more and more. I don't make reference to it directly a lot of times, but then this one here, the Kaduk Air Force, is one that I was trying to convey. Everybody has an Air Force nowadays. It's like in the Middle East, everybody's got their Air Forces over there, and then the United States is building, the big bombers and and stuff. And I said, well, now, what if what would happen if we had an Air Force? You know, what would it look like? You know, and then I kept thinking, well, we do really kind of have this this Air Force. You know, my art has always been sort of the one thing that's been really consistent throughout my life. Like I said, I've always known, I guess, that I'm an artist, or at least I had the interest into it, and I've always been really impressed by people that did art, you know, drawing and different things. And I like to think that, you know, that it's been a real good influence on my life. You know, it is a way of, I look at it as a way of preserving our culture and also making it meaningful, you know, to us. Like I said before, you know, we're changing constantly. And there's just ways of being able to take, you know, the arts, not only, you know, painting and drawing and sculpture and things, but all of the creative arts. And, you know, to really, to go back and take a look at, you know, who we are and what we've been and where we're going with it. I've always thought that you know, I would hate to be the generation, you know, in saying the whole scheme of things. I mean, you know, our culture is hundreds, if not thousands of years old. And I've always thought, now, is this the generation, or is this where it's all going to end? You know, I mean, to me, that's always been a real kind of a scary thing. You know, it's to go the way of, you know, the passenger pigeons and the condor and, you know, these other endangered species. Because again, you know, I feel that you know, that we are a very vital link in this whole chain of events. And a lot of times these links get overlooked because, you know, one might be more dominant than the other. And I think that people that don't take the time to stop and look and listen to other people's philosophies and ideas and things, especially ones that have been proven, you know, over the years. You know, it's not like we're saying something that just happened yesterday, you know, a whole new, brand new idea, but this is one that, you know, that we've lived and observed for, you know, hundreds of years. And so those people that just kind of go through life not looking for those kinds of things, or not bothering to take the time to try to understand, you know, another person or another way of, another viewpoint, that kind of thing, they're really missing out on a lot. And I think that, you know, that's a lot of our problems, you know, that we don't take the time to share and to help, you know, or at least listen to, you know, other people. Hey,